Everybody knows him.
I probably had about 93% of the business on my fingertips. More or less, I had the monopoly of that.
Both the young and the old. Even entertainers use his name to symbolize wealth and class, and even Nigerian hustler aspire to his greatness. What is so special about Otedola, and how did being the son of a Lagos state governor influence his journey from contemplating suicide to becoming the second Nigeria to be on fourth list after Aliko Dangote? This is a true story of a boy who wanted to be a priest but ended up as an entrepreneur who became one of the richest men in Africa. How you built a business empire worth billions of dollars from scratch despite huge scandals, losses and tragedies. Brace yourself for the roller coaster journey of a magnate, a maverick and a billionaire. This is the extraordinary story of Femi Otedola. In the year 1962, as Nigeria was finding its footing as a newly independent nation, a remarkable journey began. On the 4th day of November in the city of Ibadan, the capital city of Oyo State, young Femi Otedola was born to Sir Michael and Lady Doja Otedola, a couple with both political and business influence. Femi's life seemed destined for greatness. Sir Michael Otedola, Femi's father, was an esteemed journalist and a teacher who had honed his skill at The Guardian and The Times in England, in the United Kingdom. His journalistic endeavors transcended into politics, which eventually led him to serve as the Lagos State Governor from 1992 to 1993 during Nigeria's Third Republic.
Sir Michael Agbolade Otedola, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
While it may seem that Femi's privileged background would have paved an easy path for him, the reality was quite different. Even amidst wealth and influence, young Femi witnessed the struggles and challenges that came with building a prosperous life. At just 6 years old, Femi Otedola displayed his entrepreneurial spirit when he founded his first venture, Femco. This enterprising young boy provided manicure and pedicure services to his parent guests, issuing receipts and charging them for his skills. This early test of entrepreneurship sowed the seed of ambition in Femi's heart, setting him on a path to greatness. Despite the comfort and luxury of his upbringing, Femi was not content to rest on his family's wealth. He possessed a unique sense of purpose and knew that he wanted to shape his destiny. But what he knew and what he wanted would be totally different from what he later became. Femi's heart was set on becoming a priest, a calling that burned brightly within him. His passion for serving others and finding deeper meaning in life drove him to pursue this noble aspiration. His passion might seem surprising, especially when his father was born into a Muslim family and was later converted into the Christian faith. However, life often has unexpected turns and Femi's journey was no exception. After completing his primary education at the most prestigious school then in Oyo State, thanks to the influence of his father, Femi's priesthood ambition was part of what prompted him to enroll into Olivet Baptist High School, formerly Oyo Baptist Boys High School. Later, he took his academic pursuit to Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, where he earned his first university degree. During this time, Femi was running his father's printing press, an experience he credited to polishing his business acumen, fueling his drive to entrepreneurship. After a successful graduation from the university, Femi became a full-blown marketing manager at his father's company, learning the secrets of business from his father while also paving the way for his entrepreneurship journey. When Femi was in charge of his father's printing business, he gained a lot of knowledge as well as connection with influential people in banking, media and politics. The Nigeria's printing industry was booming and Femi found himself intertwined with great personalities who would later become both his business partners and rivals in business. Driven by a clear vision and unwavering determination, Femi took a bold step in 1994 and founded Center Force Limited, the company specializing in finance, investment, and trading. But Femi was more than just a finance enthusiast. He was an ambitious young man who had craved new opportunities to explore. His eyes were fixated on the fuel retail market in Nigeria, which at that time was dominated by foreign giants like British Petroleum, PB, Total, and Shell. Femi believed he could revolutionize the industry by offering better products and services to the Nigerian consumers at competitive prices. Moreover, he saw this as a chance to contribute to the growth of the Nigerian economy by creating wealth and generating employment opportunities.
Decide to go into the oil industry when your family have such a heavy political background?
No, I think going into the oil business, it's kind of spiritual.
Right?
Nothing to do with me.
In 2003, Femi's vision came to life when he founded Xenon Petroleum and Gas Limited after he identified a new opportunity in the fuel retail market. This new venture specialized in importing and distributing petroleum products across Nigeria. Leveraging his connection and reputation, Femi secured contracts from major oil companies and government agencies. Femi Otedola was not content with mediocrity and he was determined to elevate his venture. He secured financing from various sources including banks, investors, family and friends to fund Xenon's growth. By 2004, Femi, who was the chairman of Xenon, invested heavily in downstream infrastructure development, up to the tune of 15 billion naira, to acquire a storage deposit at Buffon Apapa, Lagos, as well as 4 cargo vessels with a combined total storage capacity of 147,000 metric tons, along with a fleet of 100 DA fuel tanker trucks for 1.4 billion naira in the same year. Femi had done his homework well. His meticulous planning and dedication had paid off, and Xenon was on its way to becoming a formidable force in the oil and gas industry. By 2005, Xenon had a significant share of the Nigerian diesel market, supplying fuel to most of the major manufacturers in the country, including Dangote Group, Cadbury, Coca-Cola, Nigerian Breweries, MTN, Unilever Nestle, and Guinness, making a mark in the currency market as well as benefiting millions of households. But for Femi, this was only the beginning of his remarkable journey. In March 2007, Femi secured a massive syndicated loan of $1.5 billion to be the largest premier motor spirit storage facility in Africa. It took the collective effort of 10 banks to raise this significant amount of money. Later that same year, his company Xenon acquired a 28.7% stake in African Petroleum AP, one of Nigeria's largest fuel marketers. Femi's company's influence extended across the financial sector, becoming the largest shareholder in a number of Nigerian banks, including Zenith Bank and United Bank for Africa (UBA). In the same year, Femi assumed the roles of chairman and chief executive of African Petroleum, thanks to his controlling stake in the company. By December 2007, Femi personally acquired an additional 29.3% of the company for 40 billion naira. Following Femi's emergence into African Petroleum, the company's share price skyrocketed, catapulting its market capitalization to 217 billion naira from 36 billion naira in just 6 months. The market was very favorable to Femi Otedola, and a year later, in response to public concerns over the availability and pricing of kerosene, African Petroleum launched an initiative to saturate the market and sell kerosene at 50 naira per litre for more than 500 service stations across Nigeria. But many achievements were yet to come. In 2006, following his numerous successes and his genius strategies, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo had to make him a non-executive director of the Transnational Corporation of Nigeria to let the company benefit from its business intelligence. The Transnational Corporation of Nigeria (PLC) is a multi-sectoral conglomerate established in 2004 by the then President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, to respond to market opportunities requiring substantial investment in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. Femi also demonstrated his creativity in real estate investments. Notably, in February 2007, his company Xenon Housing acquired the esteemed Stallion House in Victoria Island, Lagos, from the federal government of Nigeria for 2.3 billion naira. Only a month later, he was appointed chairman of the renowned Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja, with the crucial responsibility of spearheading its expansion and transformation into a luxurious 7-star facility. Femi's determination didn't stop there. He ventured into power generation as part of Nigeria's energy sector liberalization and even founded Swift Insurance. As the success grew, Femi's ventures expanded further. He became the chief executive and president of Seaforth Shipping Company Limited, emerging as Nigeria's largest ship owner. One of his groundbreaking ships boasted a storage capacity of 16,000 metric tons, a kind never seen before in Africa. In March 2009, Femi achieved another significant global recognition, becoming the second Nigerian following the footsteps of Aliko Dangote to be featured on the prestigious Forbes list of billionaires, with a net worth estimated at $1.2 billion. However, just when Femi thought he had conquered it all, an unexpected and grave challenge loomed on the horizon, something he could never have foreseen, threatening to undo everything he had worked so hard to achieve over the years. The question remained, how would Femi Otedola overcome this formidable obstacle? Was this going to be the end of his remarkable journey to billionaire status? Only time will tell us if Femi braced up himself for one of the toughest battles ahead of him as an entrepreneur. His story was far from being over.
Now that the report of the Honorable Farouk Lawan-led subsidy probe panel have been submitted to the House of Representatives is no longer news. But what is now news is the accusation and counter-accusation between Mr. Femi Otedola, an oil marketer, and the panel chairman, Mr. Farouk Lawan, over a $620 bribe.
In 2012, credible media outlets reported that Femi Otedola allegedly offered a bribe of $620,000 to Boniface Aminalo and Farouk Lawan, who was serving as the chairman of the House Committee on Fuel Subsidy Regimes Integrity Group at that time. According to witnesses, Femi's motive behind his action was to have his company's name excluded from the list of firms implicated by Farouk Lawan's committee for their involvement in the abuse of the fuel subsidy regime in 2012. The fuel subsidy scam was a massive fraud that involved some oil marketers who inflated their claims and defrauded the government of billions of dollars in the name of subsidizing petrol for Nigerian consumers. The first subsidy scheme was a policy that was introduced by the government of Nigeria to reduce the cost of petrol for Nigerian consumers who relied heavily on it for transportation, cooking, and lighting. Here's how it worked. The government would buy petrol from the oil marketers at a higher price and sell it to the consumer at a lower price. The difference between the two prices was supposed to be paid by the government to the oil marketers as subsidy. However, some oil marketers abused this scheme by colluding with some government officials and regulators to inflate their claims and receive more subsidy than they deserve. They also imported substandard or adulterated petrol or smuggled it out of the country for higher profits. As well, they falsified documents such as bills of lading, rabies, certificate of origin, etc. to support their claims. Despite being Africa's leading oil producer, Nigeria faces the paradox of having to import a significant portion of its fuel. This dependence on fuel import is primarily due to the insufficient state of domestic refineries, which struggle to meet the nation's demand for petroleum products. The subsidy system, which was aimed at stabilizing fuel prices, have also been plagued by mismanagement and corruption, adding to the import burden. The first subsidy scam was exposed by a report by a House of Representatives committee that probed the subsidy scheme in 2012. The report revealed that between 2009 and 2021, multi-billion naira have been stolen under the subsidy scheme by some oil marketers with clear partnership with corrupt government officials. The report also named some of the companies that were involved in this scam, including Femi Otedola's Xenon Petroleum and Gas Limited, which was reported to have fraudulently obtained over $230 million in foreign exchange from the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to import petrol under the subsidy scheme, but failed to use the money for that purpose. If proven guilty of accepting money from Femi Otedola, both Farouk Lawan and Boniface Emenalo face the risk of imprisonment, as receiving bribes as government officials constitute a punishable offense. On February 2, 2013, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) brought charges against both individuals. The trial took place at the Federal Territory High Court in Abuja, where they were accused of 7 counts of bribery, which is a violation of Section 12A2 of the ICPC Act 2000 and is punishable under Section 10 of the same Act. Farouk Lawan initially entered the plea of not guilty, while his supporters claim he's being deliberately targeted by individuals who were themselves implicated in the investigation he's leading. Similarly, Boniface Emenalo did the same. However, a surprising twist occurred during the court proceedings when Boniface eventually confessed to his guilt, admitting to receiving multiple bribes on behalf of Farouk Lawan. Meanwhile, the prosecution team presented a compelling new evidence, including a video evidence that clearly showed Femi Otedola in the act of giving a bribe, which was then accepted by Farouk Lawan. This video evidence proved to be highly incriminating and added significant weight to the case against both Farouk Lawan and Boniface Emenalo. The situation surrounding the case was becoming increasingly tense, with Femi Otedola at the center of it all. He asserted that he had reported to the State Security Service, the SSS, the alleged attempt on Mr. Lawan trying to coerce him through threat of unjustly indicting his companies if he does not cooperate with him.
Yes, I don't bring it to my house.
Okay, you take it to your house?
No, I don't want to bring it to my house. It's a lot of money.
Yes. So where? Because I am rushing to the airport now.
Yeah, they're at the airport in the aircraft.
And before they can come over now, unless I send somebody to the airport, I was coming. I can't. By the time they come, I should be in the chambers. I have a lot of things to do myself.
Is there anybody you trust I can give it to? Or maybe I should just, or maybe I should postpone my China till tomorrow?
No, it's okay. I would arrange with someone. I would, let me give you his number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His number is 080.
Hold on. 080.
In a response to the matter, the SSS advised Femi to cooperate in a sting operation. The SSS set up a carefully orchestrated plan, resulting in the capturing of Mr. Lawan, accepting the bribe from Femi Otedola, all of which was caught on video. On the other hand, Mr. Lawan maintained that he accepted the money as an evidence against Femi Otedola.
That's one. Secondly, please, this thing that we are doing, keep it to yourself. Otherwise, you will make it difficult for us.
Okay. I am now.
You will make it difficult because somebody called me now and said that we said we are going to address it. So, please keep it. Yeah, because if it is already out that we are going to do something, when we do it, people will think that we are doing it because we have compromised. And that is something that, and if my colleagues get to hear that, I will be able to convince them. So keep it to yourself.
Okay.
Let it be a complete. Let it not be like anybody is aware of what is happening.
Okay.
If anybody asks you, simply explain that this thing, from your records, you have all the records, and you have made a case to the committee. You have sent the case to the committee. Yeah, it's not for the committee. It's not for the committee to decide what to do. Please keep it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, because the moment it gets out, no, we are going to correct it. Then it went to.
However, he acknowledged that he failed to report the incidents to any law enforcement authority, raising questions about his handling of the situation. The contrasting narratives and the emergence of the video evidence added layers of complexity to the case, leaving Nigerians with much to ponder. On June 22, 2021, Angela Otuluka, the trial judge at the FCT High Court, convicted Mr. Lawan on all 3 charges filed by the government. He was found guilty of demanding $3 million gratification, agreeing to receive the bribe and accepting $500,000 from Femi Otedola to remove the businessman company from the list of firms implicated in fuel subsidy fraud. The judge sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment on the first 2 counts and 5 years on the third count, with his sentences to run concurrently, resulting in a total of 7 years in jail. Dissatisfied with the court ruling, Mr. Lawan appealed the case, replacing his defense counsel with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SCN Joseph Dawan.
I heard a brief of Chief Mike Ozekome, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as the lead counsel.
The federal government of Nigeria, represented by a lawyer from the Federal Ministry of Justice of Aminu Alalu, opposed the appeal, encountering all the arguments presented by the appellate.
Because when I lost $1 billion,
Right, how did that come about? You
fantastic.
don't tend to lose that every day.
Femi Otedola's life wasn't only plagued with the notorious fuel subsidy scandal. Life had even more devastating trial in store for him. This was a trial that would ultimately bring him to his knees, forcing him to relinquish everything he has strived and worked for a grueling 2-decade-long journey. This marked the turning point in Femi's fortune, as he watched helplessly as his network took an unfathomable nosedive from $1.8 billion as reported by Forbes in his annual ranking of the worst billionaires to virtually nothing. It was a crushing blow that left him reeling and struggling to pick up the pieces of his shattered once great aspirations.
So, in 2008, the oil prices collapsed. I had over 1 million tons of diesel on the ICs, and the price dropped from $146 to $34. That was one leg of it.
Entering into 2008 as a high flyer in the Nigerian diesel supply market, Otedola emergence into African petroleum has skyrocketed its valuation from 36 billion naira to 217 billion naira in just 6 months. But what happened next came as a shocker to everyone. Following the eruption of the 2008 global financial crisis that shook markets worldwide, Nigeria was no exception. Oil prices crashed from $146 to $34, while over 1 million tons of diesel owned by Femi Otedola were still on the high seas. This caused nothing but severe losses to his trade.
The oil prices collapsed. I had over 1 million tons of diesel on the ICs, and the price dropped from $146 to $34. That was one leg of.
But that was only the beginning. With the devaluation of the Nigerian naira and the sudden increase of interest rates across the country, Otedola was on the verge of losing everything. He had lost an estimated $480 million during the collapse of the oil prices, $160 million when his company's stock crashed, and an additional $258 million due to the devaluation of the naira, and a further $320 million due to increasing interest rates on loans. According to him in his own words, the only option he saw for himself was committing suicide. But then he thought of his wife and kids, and the option became even more difficult.
No, well, I had 2 options. Either to commit suicide, because the richest man in Germany then did commit suicide.
Did you consider it yourself?
Well, no. I just knew it was a phase I had to go.
Instead, the downtrodden billionaire sacked himself from the company and appointed a new CEO so he could take more time to fully focus on putting his finances back on track. Under the leadership of this new CEO, Mr. Lawan Akinfemiwa, both Xenon and African Petroleum were revived back on their track in their various capacities, giving Otedola one less thing to worry about. Just after the global crisis had struck, Nigeria established the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCOM, to buy up distressed loans, and Otedola was able to sell $400 million of his $1.2 billion loan, leaving him with $800 million still in debt, left with no other option. He gave up 144 apartment properties, his shares in the Nigerian banking sector, which was the largest, and a substantial share at notable corporations such as African Finance Corporation, Transcorp Hilton, Mobil Oil, Chevron, Visafone, and several other companies to settle his creditors.
Context of properties in measured in flats, I think we had about 184 flats, which I gave up. I was the largest investor in Nigeria in the banking sector.
In 2009, the same year when the disaster struck, Otedola made history as the second Nigerian to appear on the Forbes list of dollar-denominated billionaires after Dangote, where he was valued at $1.2 billion. But following this unfortunate incident, the oil mogul found his net worth reduced to just 2 properties, his office space and a 34% stake in African Petroleum. Determined to bounce back, Otedola began restructuring his business. He started by rebranding Africa Petroleum to Fort Oil and then overhauled the entire system of corporate governance in place while embracing the integration of technology into operations. According to him, he decided that he cannot fail and that in as much as he had lost so much money, it was his destiny to make even more money, and with the assistance of skilled executives such as CEO Femi, Fort Oil returned back to profit in 2012. In 2010, Femi led the restructuring of African Petroleum, which included a name change to Fort Oil PLC. This rebranding exercise aimed to revitalize the company's operation by focusing on technology and improving corporate governance. In 2013, Femi capitalized on the Nigerian government's push to liberalize the power sector by financing 57% of Fort Oil subsidiary Amperan Limited. Peran subsequently acquired the 414 megawatts of Geregu power plant for $132 million, a strategic move that diversified Fort Oil business interests and helped turn around the financial fortunes. The company's share price skyrocketed by an outstanding 1,321% in 2013. The following year, Fort Oil financial performance continued to soar, with pre-tax profits more than doubling year on year to 4.19 billion naira, that is $25 million, during the half year of 2014. The company's revenues growth for the year was an impressive 33%, which helped Femi reclaim a spot on the Forbes Billionaire list after dropping off in 2009. Fort Oil sold 70% of its equity in 2015 to Mercurial Energy Group, a Swiss commodity trader, which gave the company access to global commodity markets. This deal is believed to have earned Femi Otedola around $500 million. Nonetheless, in 2019, Femi Otedola decided to sell off Fort Oil and shift its focus to power generation with his company Geregu Power PLC. Fort Oil further underwent another branding exercise in 2020 and became Adrova PLC. The billionaire was a media sensation at this point, given his constant appearance in news headlines for various reasons. His company had even seized the power of the same media, using it to launch a campaign against Dangote, accusing him of being among the reasons for African Petroleum's company's stock price crash in 2009, after he secretly manipulated them with the help of a broker firm. Successfully, this triggered an investigation by the government into the case as Otedola wanted. But this wouldn't be the only time he would slam a fellow billionaire for backstabbing him. Otedola also accused his close friend and confidant, Tony Elumelu, of backstabbing him during his time of crisis and posing as another person to buy off his shares at Transcorp Hilton. This came at a time when Otedola was trying to make a comeback to Transcorp, now chaired by Tony Elumelu, leading to a stock purchase war between the two. However, the two finally settled their rift with the intervention of mutual friends led by Aliko Dangote. Away from his business empire, Femi has made strides in his personal life too. is the father to a female singer named Tolani, a product of a whirlwind romance with his college sweetheart Olanyike Odonyika, whom it is currently reported has no access to her daughter or baby daddy thanks to the alleged interference of Lady Doja Otedola, Femi Otedola's mother. Femi Otedola later married a Ghanaian, Nana Otedola, and had 3 children with her: Florence, popularly known as DJ Copy; Temi, an actress and blogger; and Fewa, a son who is reportedly autistic and loves to keep his things private. However, his marriage came under some challenges in 2016 when 2 young Canadian sisters, according to reports, tried to blackmail him over a video evidence of his alleged affair with them. This prompted Femi Otedola to file a complaint that landed the both girls in court, where they offered a public apology and saved the billionaire's marriage.
We apologize to Femi Otedola and his family.
Both in his personal and business life, Femi Otedola continued to stand strong. In 2021, he became the largest shareholder of First Bank, boasting a 5% stake in the banking giant and later increasing it to 11.6%. As of early 2005, Forbes valued his net worth to the tune of $1.6 billion, an extraordinary comeback from almost owning nothing many years ago. With enough money at his disposal, the billionaire does not shy away from rewarding himself. He reportedly owned a luxurious home in Ikoyi, Lagos, and in other rich men's spots such as Dubai and Monaco. His car purchases ring a bell and rang even more loudly when he purchased a Ferrari Portofino for each of his daughters in their preferred colors. The billionaire has chosen to devote expendable income to charity, making several donations to scholarship schemes, the state government, and religious centers. His benevolence also extended to the national football team, which he rewarded the Super Eagles of Nigeria $25,000 for their impressive performance at the 2019 African Cup of Nations. From his early ventures to his reinvention in power and finance, the legacy of Femi Otedola is not just a tale of wealth, the testimony of resilience, reinvention, and the unyielding human spirit. The story shows that success is not just linear, but a roller coaster of wins and losses, moments of doubt, and triumph over adversity. When it comes to breaking barriers in business and making impact in society, Femi Otedola's journey stands as a beacon of what can be achieved when ambition meets purpose. Thank you for watching. If you find this story interesting, do well to like and subscribe to our channel. See you in my next upload. Cheers.